Hello and welcome to Lorbek Luxury Cars. I'm Harry and today we're going to be looking at a very special car, a very desirable car, latest model. The 2017 Porsche 911 Carrera 4 GTS. So this is the twin turbo 3-litre update. It's a very special car and it's a car we have not yet been able to offer. So instead of, So let's not dilly-dally around. Let's go and have a look at it and let's see where it came from and how it came to be. Let's have a look at the history of the Porsche 911. So come with me. And here it is, the 2017 Porsche 911 Carrera 4 GTS. Now, being a 2017, that means it's a Series 2 of the 991 generation, which in turn means that it's got the 3-litre flat-six twin turbo. Now this new generation engine produces 330 kilowatts of power, 550 newton meters of torque, and will launch this car from 0 to 100 in just 3.6 seconds, all driven through its 4-wheel drive system and 7-speed double clutch gearbox. Now, to understand where Porsche is today, we have to go back a few years. We have to go back to this, the Volkswagen Beetle. Now the one we've got here is not strictly speaking a really good example of a Beetle, simply because it's a chop top, it's a rat rod, it's a pretty cool car too. But nonetheless, it's a 1969 Beetle, originally a 1300cc Australian delivered, but now with an upgraded 1600cc, putting out an incredible 57 horsepower. Now that will launch you from 0 to 100 in quite a while, but it will get there. It is essentially still a Porsche 911. It's a rear engine, rear drive, though the GTS is 4-wheel drive, but most 911s are rear-wheel drive. It's got 4 seats. It's got a boot in the front, and it is essentially the same shape as a 911. But what separates Porsche from everyone else is that they never actually departed from this style of car. Even though this is nowhere near what a Porsche 911 is today, it's still essentially got the same bones, the same core as a 911. And they've just constantly evolved and constantly developed the car to make it the incredible machine that everyone loves today. So, without further ado, let's get on the road and actually see what's what and see how far the 911 has come from the early Beetle days to where it is today. All joking aside, there are some sort of common threads to this car and the GTS. Even though this has very little in the way of power, it does get up and boogie, but it's not going to rip your face off. It does have a similar handling characteristic to the 911 in a very small way. It's not hard to see that these two cars are actually related. The fact that Porsche have never really changed the whole fundamental setup of the 911 is part of the key as to why it's so good. It's never actually changed in any major way. They've just made it better and better. And often if you change everything and you start from scratch, you end up going backwards. But no 911 has really ever been worse than the one that preceded it. So if the 911 has always improved from one generation to the next, it stands to reason that the Beetle must be terrible to drive. Well, that's what people always seem to say. I've never quite understood why people have given Beetles such a hard rap, because they're very light, they're quite agile, they're ergonomically one of the best cars from this period. It's just a really fun little car. Now that we've driven the Beetle, let's see how its younger sibling compares and how far it has come since the early days of Volkswagen and Porsche. What is amazing about this 911 is how planted it feels. It feels like a mid-engine car. That was always a criticism of 911s gone by, that they were just so terrifying to drive and they'd snap and kill you at just a moment's notice. But this, there is no concern. Plus, it has to be said, the 911 is a bit better equipped than the Beetle. This has got the full GTS interior package, the Beetle doesn't. This has got an active exhaust, active spoiler, Porsche dynamic chassis control, full interior carbon fibre trims, front nose lift kit so you don't scrape it on nasty speed bumps and driveways and all that sort of stuff. Adaptive 18-way sports seat, sports chrono pack, special order carmine red with this Alcantara and leather lined interior with contrast red stitching. It's got a full panoramic glass roof, LED headlights. So you're probably asking, why buy the Beetle? Well, the answer to that is very simple. The Beetle that we drove today has had unbelievable quantities of money spent on it, and fundamentally it's an Australian delivered car. So underneath it's very clean, rust free, and a very well sorted chassis, and all the work that's been done on it has been done to the highest standard. All the modifications and chopping and all that sort of stuff have been done really superbly, and it drives very well as a result. And you can buy that thing at far less than what it cost to build, at only $39,990. And this Porsche 911 GTS 4 with only 9,452 kilometres from new can be yours for $299,990. Now, that may sound like a lot of money, but when you remember that this car was nearly $370,000 only a few months ago, it is incredible value, and this one is the cheapest in Australia. And it's the current generation, the newest, latest and greatest. So come down to Lorbek Luxury Cars and buy both of these examples today.